You're a talk show animal. You're like one of those goddamn creatures out of Greek mythology. Half man, half desk.
Welcome to the Oilfield Leader Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy to tell you about Jesse Rodriguez. Jesse, he's the guest on our show today. He is incredibly talented, an amazing photographer, incredibly hard worker, someone that you could absolutely look at and be like, I know I can trust this guy 100%. And in the oil field, that's really what you need, is to be able to look at the man next to you and say, I can count on this guy. So without a doubt, Jesse is excellent. He was an excellent guest. He's an excellent worker. And he really does bring forward a lot of the attitudes and the mentality that you really want for someone in the oil field. It's not all just mud and hoses. Okay, a lot of it is the head game and the mental game, and we talk a little bit about that in the show. And I hope that you really enjoy this. This was a fantastic talk, and I was happy to have it with him. So please, ladies and gentlemen, here is Jesse Rodriguez. Jesse Rodriguez?
Yes, sir.
Jesse Rodriguez. Do you have a middle name?
I do, but I don't share it because I do not like it.
Okay, 10-4. And then everyone in the field is going to call you that, and you're never going to hear the end of it. Yes.
Definitely.
Somebody one time heard my nickname as a child, my childhood nickname.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fucker never let me go on that. So.
I always tell my mom, I was like, what were you thinking with that middle name? But
Hey, Romeo's a nice name, dude. What's that? Romeo's a great name.
I definitely would take Romeo.
See, there you go. All right. Well, you know what? Boom. Now your name is fucking Romeo. Every time I see your ass, what's up with Romeo? That's awesome. So, but you've been working in the oil field for a while now. How long?
I think it's not like forever, but it's been about a year and a half, roughly.
Right. That's funny, dude, because it feels like forever, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Dude, 6 months in the oil field is like 3 years at a regular job.
No, I agree. Like I tell people, like, just because you spend so many hours, so like, a week is really like a month.
Hell
you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like a normal job.
Oh, hell yeah. No, people cannot generally comprehend working over 100 hours a week. Like it just doesn't even compute to most people. But so I know that you were telling me earlier that when you were doing fuel. I'm sorry. Because I'm going to talk to one of my buddies, and you heard his name earlier today, Baby Luis, because he was doing sand. But fuel is where I met you.
Mm-hmm.
Fuel is where I met you.
Yes, sir.
Dude, and you were getting at it, bro. You stank like diesel. You knew it.
Every day smelling like diesel, and it wasn't easy.
No.
For the least.
But are you able to just get that shit washed out at the laundromat?
Definitely not.
No?
You can wash it a million times and you're still gonna smell like diesel.
Get the hell out.
Yeah.
So, all right, so you go to the hotel, totally contaminate their fucking washing machines.
No, I would soak it in because sometimes, especially when you just put a lot of diesel on you,
Right.
I would soak it in the bathtub. So I contaminated the drinking water.
You contaminate water too. Right. Damn. Well, listen, we all got to do what we got to do. One time I worked, when I was younger, I worked as the tomato boy at the Renaissance Festival. So my job was to stand there and insult people so they would want to throw tomatoes at me. I'd be like, oh, look at you and your pretty blonde hair. Oh, you're like a vagina. Right? And make them want to throw tomatoes at me. Bro, I had to go to the lake. This was in upstate New York. I went to the lake to get into the lake just to get all the tomato seeds out of me. My hair was red all the time. Dude, it was nasty.
I can imagine.
It was nasty. Dude, I couldn't eat tomatoes for 3 years after doing that. It was just heinous. Because everyone throws a tomato at you, right? You can tell the second it leaves their hand, you can tell, right? And if you think it's going to hit you, you duck and it hits you on the top of the head.
For sure.
But if they miss, what's happening? Splash, 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 splash. And it all lands right underneath you in the summer sun, dude, in the Ren Fair. Dude, I could not eat tomatoes for months.
I couldn't imagine.
Dude, it's terrible. It was terrible. But it's not nearly as terrible because, listen, I got to hang out with my girlfriend and, we slept in a tent, but that's another story. But that's not as terrible as working fuel because they drag your ass for like 2-3 months at a time. What?
Yeah, like even more. Some people would work 6 months straight. But like when I first started, I was doing like 2, 3, 4 months at a time, hitches. So it was definitely an experience.
Now, when I met you, you were working nights.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now for all those months, once you start on a shift, that's your shift for the rest, or what?
Well, it depends on when the location finishes. You can either go back to nights, but for the most part, I know one hitch, I spent like 3.5 months on nights.
Okay.
So,
Got you. Right, and it makes sense because once you start at nights, you should just stay nights.
state nights, yeah.
Right.
So I was like a complete zombie.
Dude, that's insane. And they put you up in a hotel?
Yes.
Okay. And is it like another oil field where you've got your day shift guy and night shift guy in the same room?
Well, the company I was at, we actually had our own hotel rooms. We were fancy.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Not cheap like some other companies.
Yeah.
That will not be named. Okay, that's interesting. Well, no, that's good though, at least, right? So, because I can only imagine that it's not just 12 hours. You're probably looking at
we were like 14, 15.
14, 15.
Depends on what's going on and if somebody spilled
Mm-hmm.
or not, having to clean that stuff up. So,
Where would someone spill? I mean,
because like it's automatic fuel, filling. So like if a sensor went out or something, it'll overfill. It'll keep pumping diesel into the tanks and then overfill. And if you're not checking them constantly, you can have a diesel spill.
Right.
That's been running for about 30 minutes. So
sure, because you think that it's going to pop like it would at your regular gas station.
Yeah.
For your regular car, you put it in and it pops when it's done. Okay, that's interesting. So if something goes out, then you're going to wind up filling a tank fucking 10 times over.
Mm-hmm. You have about 50. The biggest spill I had was it's probably about 50 gallons, and there was water, so it made it look even worse. So
yeah. But all things considered, 50 gallons. I mean, that's a barrel. It's just a little more than a barrel.
Yeah.
That's not even that much.
But you have to fill out these reports, contamination reports, and
Sure.
call from HR and
Right.
filling all kinds of paperwork out. So
Right. Well, and at least, you know what though, but I'm going to give props to your company at least for doing that, because there's a lot of other companies out there that they will spill. And I've seen, 600 gallons and be like, okay, you put that it was a 5-gallon bucket. I'm like, all right, 5-gallon bucket. You got it, boss. Whatever you say.
for sure.
But, even at that, all those months, working all those months, and you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, right.
For sure.
Far from family, right? Far from your friends. I mean, your friends are always a phone call away, but but when you're working at 3 a.m, dude,
Yeah.
sometimes they're not up.
Nobody's answering.
Nobody's answering. One thing that I felt a lot, and I know that it's really sucky because it's not as intense as other people, but I felt a lot of isolation. Like,
yeah.
Once I'm gone and I'm in a hotel room, I feel very untethered. Like those guys doing a spacewalk on the space shuttle. Like, I feel like one of those dudes, but the cord has been cut, and I'm just like, I know I'm here.
Kind of just floating around.
Yeah, I'm just doing.
Yeah. No, I've been there plenty of times, especially those long hitches. You kind of start losing your mind a little bit. You start second guessing your choices of coming out here. To the oil field, and it's just it's rough, definitely rough. Something I struggled with when I first came out here. It was a big adjustment because you kind of think it's like any other job, but it's not. And you come here with that frame of mind, and then that first month you're like, man, is this what I signed up for?
Right.
So
Yeah, it can be pure hell. If you're not prepared for it mentally, I mean, it's pure hell. Yeah. Because nothing out there is nice. Nothing out there is sweet. Nothing out there is forgiving. Everything is cold and heavy and expensive as shit.
Yeah, definitely expensive. And
yeah.
And it's, you always got to be on top of your toes and constantly moving quick. Everything's about speed, and safety. So
speed and safety. And right. And so when you're running around doing fuel, there is no stopping. Like, because by the time you're done with one, you have to, like painting a bridge. The second you're done, you got to start at the beginning again, right?
Yeah.
And keep going. Right. So you literally have no break.
Yeah. So you like the company I work for is automatic fueling. So they had sensors. We put them in the pumps, but we had to take care of all the light plants, generators, boost pumps, and all that stuff. And pump down, you'd have to do manually. So you constantly have to you're constantly moving because you can't stop. I mean, you can't run out of fuel. That's one thing you don't want to do at a frac is run out of fuel, especially on the blender.
Oh, geez, no.
So
no, and I do know that is one cause for getting run off. Any company will get run off immediately if they run out of fuel.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. Especially if it's something that's in their control. But one thing I do remember about when you were running, I never heard him call for fuel on the radio. Every other location I've ever been on, the guys are on the radio and they are screaming for the fuel guys. Where the fuck is fuel? Where the fuck are fuel? Fuel, where the fuck are you? Dude, all the time.
Yeah, no, me and the other guy that was with me on that frac, since it was a big frac, we stayed on top of it pretty good. It wasn't easy, but we got it done. We only had one truck. We should have had 2 trucks, but I mean, you got to make do with what you have. So
right. Well, so much of the oil field is just making do with what you have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Shit, dude. Even when I go away and I tell my wife, because again it fucks with my head. It's like I'm going to the moon.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm taking everything that I possibly can with me because I ain't coming back. I just know. Oh, I forgot this. No, that ain't working, dude.
Yeah. And pray there's a Walmart close by.
Oh, dude, pray.
And at a good Walmart at that, because I don't know if anybody's been to Pecos, but that Walmart's pretty dry.
It is very. I mean, for Walmart's is very sad. It's your old school 1960s, and I think they finally, gave in and like, okay, we'll put food in there, but it's like only the first 4 aisles, like right in the front, and if other than that, no.
And God forbid you need socks. Because sometimes, I'm not going to lie, I don't want to do laundry.
Right.
And so I'll go find some socks and underwear. And out there in Pecos or most oil field towns, you're not going to find socks or underwear anywhere. So
no, but you're absolutely right. I have done exactly the same thing. I'm like, thank goodness for Dollar General.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And I want to also throw props to Dollar General because they are based in Tennessee. And I did 10 years in Nashville. So I'm always very proud of my Tennessee companies.
Oh, yeah.
Beretta as well. So, yeah. So I'm very proud. And I am happy. And I do patronize Dollar General when I have a chance. But sometimes you don't have a choice.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, especially when you're on night shift, you get off in the morning and you just want to sleep. And then you wake up, you got to, do what you got to do and then get dressed and, head on out. But so you got to wake up early and get that laundry done. But sometimes you're like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the store and buy me some socks and underwear.
That's it. And you bring up a very good point, which is that when you're doing any kind of shift, you only have time to do one thing. Mm-hmm. That's it. You have a choice. I can eat, I can do laundry, or I can go to the store. Like, that's it. You cannot do all 3 because you do not have the time. You got to get your ass to sleep.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely time management of what like what's more important, sleep or laundry. Some days sleep.
Some days sleep. Oh yeah. And especially at night shift, for me the big thing was being able to get back to the house or get back to my hotel room before the sun comes up.
Same thing. I hate when I get back and the sun's already out. I just feel like the day's ruined, the sleep's ruined.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And it's so sad, but when you're working night shift and you're doing these little things mean everything. Get my ass to the hotel room, take a shower, and get in that bed before the sun comes up. That means everything in the world. And sometimes after the end of a long night, that is literally the only thing you can think of.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I've been there plenty of times. I hate sometimes you got to stay over and help in the next guy and the sun start coming up and you're like, uh-oh.
Right. And at that point, you're like, I don't care how much I get paid. Like, I would pay you to let me fucking go right now because I do not want to be doing this.
Definitely.
I'm already wrung the fuck out.
Yeah, that the one job I was on, it was with, now I'm with Kim's. It was a big job doing 1,500, 2,000 gallons of FR a stage, and it was a nightmare frac, complete nightmare. We were injecting the FR into the missile, so
oh my goodness,
it was yeah.
By
the end of the job, we're putting they had 2 different blenders, so we're running the one line into the one blender and the other line into the other blender.
No way.
Yeah.
Seriously, dude, that was hardcore. And how many wells were you fracking on that site?
I believe there was 8.
8
wells.
Dude.
I think it was a total of I want to say 760 stages.
760 some odd. Holy cow.
It was a 2-month job.
Damn.
Yeah, I got it done in about 2 months, maybe a little over 2 months.
Wow. Well, that's turning and burning. Like, what do you got? 2-3 minutes between stages?
Sometimes, yeah. We're averaging. I mean, on good days, we're doing 19, 20 stages in a day.
Holy cow.
So about 10 stages a shift.
Damn,
so I was getting 3 stages. We'd have one ISO completely gone, but we had frac tanks that we had the FR in, so
Right.
We had 40,000 gallons, supposedly on site, but you know how that is.
Yes, sir.
Trying to keep up.
Yes, sir.
So,
damn, dude, that how many gallons a stage of FR?
1,500 to 2,000.
1,500 to 2,000. Holy cow. Damn. And I know that on the point job, you were doing fuel, but if I remember correctly, we were dropping also at the head of every stage 2,000 or 3,000 gallons of acid.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I was in charge of. As a matter of fact, that photo of those 4 guys down there, I was standing on top of the acid tank, and those were the Pro Petro dudes that were helping me with the pumps.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it awesome when you work with a crew that works with you? Or have you had any difficulties?
Yes, I have with certain fluid techs, because certain jobs, especially the company I was at, we weren't pumping the chemical, we were keeping track of it and doing any kind of maintenance on our pumps and helping them out with lines and stuff like that. So I've exchanged words with some fluid techs. So some come in, you're hoping, you're like, oh, I don't want that one, but you get put with that one, and
right.
You just got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do. And that's one thing that's so fascinating is there's so many character types, so many personality types in the field. But they're all, for the most part, alpha guys. Not all, but for the most part. And even like the quiet ones, like you push them on something or say something and then be like, no, the answer is 9. And then you're like, oh shit, the answer is 9. God damn it.
Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like to be out here, you just can't be I guess per se a beta.
Right.
Just because the field is, you wouldn't make it.
You're not
long.
Gonna
you probably make it a couple months, maybe. But after a while, you get your feelings hurt and run home.
You wind up crying in a corner after a while. No, it is very. That's one thing I do like about it is there's very little space for bullshit. Now, interpersonal bullshit, there's always a shit ton of interpersonal bullshit.
Oh, man.
But when it comes to the job, it's like either the hose is connected or it's not.
Yeah.
Either the pump is running or it's not. Yeah. And if it's not, what the fuck are you doing to fix it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially when something like, that one job where we're pumping all that FR, we have major issues with our, chem lines. And, obviously Frac's blaming us and we're blaming Frac. So you know how that goes.
Absolutely.
It's always somebody else's fault. So.
Right.
But, you got company man and you got the Frac crew just watching you, and, some of them, I try to make it good, with the Frac crew and everything, but. So most of them guys would help me out, so. Right.
Well, it is very, and I say this, right? Like, no one comes out here for God and country. We come out here to make money.
Oh yeah.
But when you're on location, you don't think of the money. Like, you just look at the dude to your left and your right. You're like, how the fuck can I help? Because like, does that dude need help? Because fuck all, one day I'm gonna need help, and you pray.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's the way I look at it. That's why I always try to get in with,
exactly.
the Frac crews and stuff, because you never know when you're in that bind and you need some extra hands, So it's good to look out for each other, So.
Right. And we do out here in the field, we do say it's a brotherhood. Oh, yeah. And some people take it more seriously than others. But some guys, they take it deadly serious. Yeah. And as you should, because people's lives literally are on the line.
Oh yeah.
And
I just feel like everybody looks at each other, with the mutual respect, because we are out here away from our families, just trying to get it done and make money at the end of the day,
Right.
And go home.
Yeah, my very, very good friend Jing Lin, who's also an executive producer of the show, he's like, the oil field is very self-selecting. If you can't hack it, you're going to leave. Oh yeah. So the people that stay are the ones who can hack it. Oh yeah. So no, you're absolutely right about that. Because a regular person, there's no way anyone can understand what this job is like.
For sure.
No.
For sure. You go back home, tell people what you do and how many hours you work. They're like, oh, that's a lot, but it don't seem too bad. But until you get out here, you can't really explain what it is out here until you start doing it.
Oh hell yeah.
Nobody can grasp that.
No.
What it is. So.
No, to be cold, to be tired, the hoses are all covered in FR, so they're all slick as shit.
Sliding around all the place.
Sliding all over the place, and no. And then if you've got problems with a blender and they have to swap blenders a couple of times, it is mud all around the blender. Oh
man. That one job I was telling you, that big job that I was on, they did, I want to say by the end of the job, those 2 months, it was probably about 28 blender swaps.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
damn.
And it was a nightmare. You know, there was FR everywhere. One time the tub, it wouldn't pull no more water or chemicals, so everything overflowed.
Oh no!
And there was FR everywhere. So trying to grab the hose from underneath the blender, you just can't grab it. You know, so you have to like squeeze it to your body.
Yeah,
and you just got FR all over you. You know. And,
oh my god! How many clothes did you have to just straight up throw out?
Oh, I've ruined so many FRs because I was like, I'll take it back to because at that job they had us a Airbnb that we were staying at, and I go back to the house and you know, put it against the fence and just start spraying it off with the water hose, and some of them are just like, yeah, this is done because I'm not spending 3 days cleaning this off. So
right. For as expensive as FR jeans are, I mean, yeah, just like no, dude, no. That's just a big no from me.
You're like, yeah, these $100 jeans going in the trash.
Go in the trash. Yeah, that happened to me like a putz. I forgot one time the same thing. I had FR all over friction reducer FR all over my pants. I took them to the public laundromat. I took them out of the wash and like literally as I peeled the legs apart, you could see them like glue, just like set that. I was like, oh no, dude. Right in the trash.
Yeah, if anybody listening, you know, like if you know FR, you know FR, you know.
Yeah,
and if you know, you know,
and it is the devil's handiwork. I mean, I understand its use in the oil field, and I understand how important it is. But if you have to work with it, dude, it is the worst flipping thing on the planet.
Yeah, especially when it gets all on you and you have to go take a shower.
Oh man, I worked for a company in Houston where they were doing powdered FR, and so Houston's very humid. And we were testing a machine to run that powder. So we're outside, it's humid, and it's breezy. Every time like I went to scratch an itch and I went like that, my finger would go right up. I'm like, oh man, I am literally covered in FR. Like, oh, dude, that's the worst.
Yeah.
Dude, I hate that.
Water just reactivates it, so
that's it.
You're taking a shower for 30 minutes washing your hair, so
just trying to do that. Oh my goodness. And then one thing I really hate, and I can tell what kind of a day I had, was by when I get back to the hotel room or the house, whatever, and I go to shower, if I have to shampoo my hair 3 times, because I shampoo and I run my fingers through my hair, I'm like, nah, dog, no, we got to do that again.
Yeah, for sure.
You know it. You know,
especially like my beard, you know, because I have especially when my beard gets long.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous trying to get it out of there.
Dude, that is nuts. That is nuts.
And then, you know, that FR dries out your skin real bad. So,
oh, heck yeah.
You know, so.
Well, let's face it. Nothing that we do in the oil field is healthy for you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Nothing is healthy for you out here. But, you know, listen, without people like you and I doing this job out here, we wouldn't have plastics. We wouldn't have products.
I agree.
So
somebody's got to do it, so.
Right. And it's going on whether we were doing it or not. There's going to be somebody out here pumping. There's going to be somebody out here drilling. There's going to be somebody out here fracking. So don't get down on people who are here to make the best they can for their families.
Oh, yeah. It's going to get done one way or the other, like you said.
For sure. The one thing that I want to go back to this, like, because I'm fairly lucky. I think we're all lucky. But, you know, man, sometimes that isolation and that depression from being alone, dude. And like you said, even when you go home and you try to tell people about your job, like no one can even remotely understand.
For sure.
So how do you tell your family, I'm lonely? Like I feel very empty inside. And sometimes I even wonder why I'm here. And only you can live with those thoughts.
For sure. Sure. You know, you try to explain to people, but you know, but you also like, especially your close family, you don't want to tell them, yeah, man, I'm depressed out here. You know, it's rough, you know, I don't like it out there, but you know, you got to keep, you know, you got to be a man at the end of the day, you know, you got to make money, you got to support. So, I mean, it's tough. It's, you know, you kind of give off little hints here and there, you know, kind of, but you know, it's, that's one thing that's tough that nobody really realizes before you come out here is the mental game out here. It's tough because there's some days where you're just like done.
Yeah.
And, or you're driving back, you know, to your hitch. And you're just like, maybe I should just turn around and let me just go back to a 9 to 5. But at the end of the day, you're like, man, I love it too much. So
yes. And it's funny because I think everyone who works in the field has a love-hate relationship with the oil field.
For sure.
And once you get started working in the oil field, going back to a 9 to 5, a regular civilian job, you're nodding your head like, no, you can't do it.
Like I thought about it before, and then I'm just like, nah, there's no way I can't go back to just a normal job. You know, there's no way. Just like the camaraderie out here, and I don't know, it's just hard to explain, like the feeling you get working out here. You know, it's it sucks sometimes, but it's you get your good times. So
And you know, ultimately, it's more good times than bad.
oh yeah,
Because if it was the other way around, nobody would do this job
For sure.
because it's already wicked hard.
for sure.
But like you and I had said earlier, like, you know, when you got 3 or 4 guys, you're trying to figure something out, you know, like it literally takes the physical muscle, because I've been there, like to have to lift a 12-inch lay flat. It's full
yeah.
of water, but it's pinched, but you have to lift it so they can get the cam on it. Not the cam, the Vic,
Yeah.
right? You know, when you do that and you're like, yeah, motherfucker, we did that shit.
Yeah,
Dude,
sure.
nothing feels better.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, just like you were saying, you know, you have big problems and you got all these good guys around you, you know, working for the same goal, and you look at each other and you're like, yeah, I got respect for them.
Yeah, man. Well, and that's what it is. I think so much of it is you don't want to let the guy next to you down.
For sure.
And you can't, I mean, I'm pardon the language, but we all know what's going on. I mean, you can't pussy out.
Oh yeah.
You can't pussy out. And that's one thing I like about the oil field is that no matter how you feel about it, I'm not in the mood. I feel like shit. I'm depressed, bro. I do not want to fucking be here. Dude, none of that matters.
Yeah.
If you need to climb that ISO, you need to climb that ISO.
Yeah.
Right? If you got to take apart that micromotion, you got to take that micromotion
For
apart.
sure.
And I do like that because in a lot of other places, like let's say if you had an office job, say, and your manager sees you crying. Oh, what's wrong? Mike, come on the office. Let's talk, Mike. What's wrong? What's going on at home? No, dude, in the field, it don't work like that.
Yeah, like, are you almost done?
Right?
You be crying. They're just like, are you done?
Are you done, dog? What's going on, bro? Dude, the fucking tanker is waiting to be offloaded, B. What are you waiting
for
on?
sure.
Get that harness on.
That company man wants one thing only: get that frac done. So
That's it.
get it done.
Yeah, and I used to say in water too, like the customer doesn't care if the weir is full of dead hookers. Just
Oh, yeah.
so long as the product that comes out is good,
As long as it's flowing, you know,
they don't care.
get it done.
Get it done. That doesn't matter what it costs you. It doesn't matter what it costs you personally. It doesn't matter what it costs you as a company. Just get that fucking job done.
And
all that matters.
that's what I like about it too. You know, you could have, you know, you feel lonely, but then when you get out to the frac, you stay busy. You kind of get your mind off of it, you know, and just start, you know, get stuff done. Especially when you have big problems, you know, you got your guys, you know, to the left and right, you know,
Yeah.
right there with you. So
Yeah. If it wasn't for the guys and the attitude that the guys have to have with you, like the job would be impossible.
oh yeah,
It would be impossible.
for sure.
It would be impossible. And I think that's one of the things that I like so much, that you find guys that, because we all know it sucks, right? But some, not all, some are going to be like, hey, this sucks, but you know what? Fuck it. We're here and we're going to make the best of it. And I'm going to help you and you're going to help me and we're going to get it going. And then you get some guys that all they want to do is bitch and moan.
Oh man, yeah. And those are the guys I'm like, yeah, they'll be gone next month, so just put up with this itch.
Right. They're not going to last long.
Yeah. 'Cause,
Exactly.
I mean, you got to have that fine point where, you know, you can't take everything to heart, and you know some things you just got to let slide, because if you hold on to all that stuff, then you're not gonna make it.
No, right. And plus also, you know, a lot of guys that just give off a lot of shit. And exactly like you said, like, I mean, I think I even told you where a guy was training me, Jason Lance, thank you, Jason, was like, if you don't spin that fucking FR dial, I'm going to break your fucking fingers.
For sure.
And he was dead serious, dude. Dude, he looked like he was ready to hit me in the head with a 2x4. He was ready if I didn't start spinning that FR dial. But at the end of the day, you know you could count on him. And he got you like a brother.
Oh yeah.
That's something that it's so hard to, and not that I ever got to fisticuffs with Jason, but I have like it with some other guys, like get really close to fisticuffs.
Oh, yeah.
In the unit, and fucking 45 minutes later, you're both doing something together.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's how it is. You know, you get into it with somebody, and then, you know, the next day's a new day, so you got to get it done. And what happened, and you're grown men at the end of the day. So I mean, let's move on from it and get it done.
Right. Yeah, but and you're right. But some guys, they get their panties in a bunch.
Yeah, some guys do. There's probably more than some, but you know, they hold it against you, and you know it's just it's one of those things.
But and you know, like you said earlier, that if you look at someone on a site, you're like, you don't know the guy, but like, dude, I have to give up to you the minimum. You have earned the right to be here.
Oh yeah,
at the minimum. So why would you give someone a harder time just because your panties are in a wad,
For sure.
right? Like, but also, which I know is for a fact is true, is that most of the time, 9 times out of 10, people are willing or want to find blame outside of themselves as opposed to looking at themselves first.
For sure.
And 9 times out of 10, you should be looking at yourself first.
For sure.
Before trying to blame somebody else.
No, I agree. But, some guys ain't like that. And,
Yeah.
That's one thing in the oil field, like you meet a lot of good guys, but there's some out there that's, you got to watch your back on too. So,
oh shit, yeah.
Because they will find any little reason to throw you under the bus and make themselves look better.
But let me ask you, okay, so with that idea, but don't you think that, like, let's say one guy throws another guy under the bus, say, but don't you think the management knows, like, okay, Mike here, Mike threw John under the bus, but we know Mike is a cock, and Mike is doing it because Mike has his own fucking personal issues that he cannot keep a control of. Don't you think management sees things like that?
Well, depending on the company, honestly, because I've worked for a bigger company, and there's so many turnover rates that you're just, I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're kind of just another employee, and so that really doesn't get around. But after a while, I mean, I guess you start seeing a trend of people not able to work with that person. So
right.
So eventually they'll see it, but it takes a while, depending on the company size.
Right. It's almost like the guy who's like, man, I had 12 girlfriends and they were all bitches. I'm like, yeah, but what does all 12 of those women have in common?
Yeah.
You.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Definitely.
That's crazy. That's really crazy. So when you're gone, and I know, thank goodness you're not doing that anymore, but there's a lot of guys, and let me start with this. We talked earlier about fuel and how fuel and sand, right, are the two places that anyone can try to get in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I got my start. Because, I applied before. I applied to all these different oil field companies, which is super hard to get into unless you know somebody.
Right.
So I went on Indeed, and I seen this fuel company hiring. So I was like, well, let me try. And literally, like 2 days later, they called.
Wow.
And they're like, well, can you start next week? And I was like, yes, sir, I'll be there. Mm-hmm. So I packed my bags and headed up there, not knowing what to expect. I was Googling, YouTubing, oil field stuff. I was like, man, I have no idea what I'm going to expect,
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, nothing could have prepared me for what it's like.
Wow. Nothing.
So, nothing.
Nothing.
So.
No, that's true. Nothing can prepare you for what it is actually like.
Until you start doing it, you can read as much as you want, get some helpful hints, but you got to come out here to figure it out. So.
Yeah.
To truly figure it out.
Right. And I've said this story before or anecdote before, but my cousin, he had called me from San Antonio and he's like, hey, can you get me a job in the oil field? I'm like, well, yes, but can you hack it? So I told him, I will get you a job. All I had to do was tell my manager, boom, we're going to hire this guy. And it would have been done. I said, but you can't do that because you're not going to make me look bad. You have to come out here and spend 2 days with me. I'm going to take you to some locations. You're going to smell hydrochloric acid. Okay. You're going to carry 3-inch hose up and down weir steps. Okay. Many, many times. I don't maybe even had him climb an ISO once or twice. Mm-hmm. And after a day, I was like, okay. I took him from location to location doing that. I said, do you want to do this job? He said, yes. And he stayed. And he did an amazing job. And it's Manolo Abrigo.
Yeah.
Right? And
I definitely know Manolo.
You know Manolo. And, Manolo was such a good guy. He wound up getting poached by another company. Yeah. Because I think that the best oil field workers are ones who don't have experience.
For sure.
Right. Why?
For sure. I mean, just because you're not predestined to do something that's, that's not taught. Like some older guys, they're fixed in a certain way, so, you get stuck doing that one thing, that one way, you bring in some fresh eyes and,
right. Right. You bring bad habits.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
how I say it. And also, it doesn't take an electrical engineer to just look in the room and go, did you try hitting the light switch?
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Like it doesn't need, you don't need.
Yeah, sometimes you overcomplicate it.
That's it.
When it's, when you've been there a long time, you're thinking of the worst, and it's some very simple, and it always ends up being the new guy that's like, hey man, that's it right there. Like, oh yeah, I knew that.
You're right, exactly. Yeah. But that's the benefit of a new guy,
Yeah,
because
for sure.
again, he's got new eyes and he's seeing everything for the first time. And just like you said, when you've been in this job or in this game for a minute, your head gets all kinds of twisted with the shit that you know. What do you remember? The pump on the last job, and we swapped that pump from the other thing. But like you said, sometimes that just bogs you down.
Yeah, especially like when you're the more experienced person on site and you are working with a new guy, you have more pressure on you because it's not going to be the new guy's fault. It's going to be the guy that's been there a while that should know better.
Right.
So that pressure falls on you, especially from the company man and the frac supervisor and everything. They're looking at you. So,
But don't you think though but don't some guys really appreciate that, like knowing that everyone looks to them for the answer?
it depends on the time, but yeah. I mean, it's a good feeling, but but sometimes you do get that you're more stressed out than. Because
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
like it's just you and a new guy, and
Yeah.
you're running FR or something, something important. You're like, it goes down, and you're like, you look at the new guy, and you're like, man, you're like, oh man, you're just like, this is on me right now, because like the new guy's just, you're like, oh yeah, it's okay,
Yeah.
and then you're like, man, we gotta get this going. You don't understand how,
Right.
like, you can't be down for too long because that's money.
That's
So,
money. No, no, you're right. And I was told when I first started, and I wasn't too sure how to feel about this. It was like, you need to know that you are a liability here. If you're new, you're just straight up a liability until you have learned enough, you're confident enough to actually be an asset.
For sure.
Until you're actually an asset, all you are is a fucking liability. Right? Did you remember to open that valve? Did you remember to close that valve? I mean, like, dude.
Yeah, because like especially when you're working in, the inside guy, we run the computer and the chems. You put a lot of trust in that person outside because you're like, you sure that's open? And you just got to believe them, because I mean, you can't really, there's not much time to, well, let me go double check that. Sometimes you're like, are you sure? Like, yeah. And then next thing you know, there's no chems running out.
chems running, right.
Or there's valves closed and you just pop the hose. So.
Right. Or yeah, you got two ISOs of the same chem, and you think they're pulling out of one ISO, but they're pulling out of the other, and yeah. There's a lot of things to fucking keep track of, which goes back to something that we had also sort of been talking about a little bit lately. That while working in the oil field is fucking mud and hoses and being a fucking strong cock, like a lot of it is about being intelligent.
Oh yeah.
Is actually being smart and slowing down, figuring out what's going on, and why does this not quite match the other.
For sure.
I think that happens in all jobs, but like we talked about the oil field, everything in the oil field, when there's a mistake, those mistakes are expensive.
Very expensive.
Very expensive.
You can potentially lose millions and millions of dollars on a, wrong chem being pumped or anything that could happen.
Right.
Even outside of chems, you make one mistake and you could ruin the well, and
Yes.
that's a major
screen it
loss.
out.
Yeah, you can bankrupt a company.
Yeah. That's something that I think a lot of people don't understand, that, for the most part, not everyone, but for the most part, they're young people, let's say 20s and 30s, right? And it's not unlike the military, where you got young people, they're in charge of millions of dollars worth of equipment, and it's fucking do or die.
For sure.
It's just do or die. Like, you get it done or you don't. And this is a little out of left field, but Peter Drucker, the father of modern management theory, he's like, there's the people who get it done, and the ones who have excuses for why it didn't get done. Those are the only two kinds of people there are in business.
I agree.
Right? What do you think about when someone becomes a leader in the field? What does a leader mean to you in the oil field?
It's someone that presents, that confidence, and you can always look up to them. And, if they don't have the answer, they'll get it to you.
Right.
At a reasonable time, because, there's a lot of times where you're just stuck and you need somebody to look at, so it's good to have a person like that, that you can, you make one phone call and you're like, hey man, I got you. So
right.
I'll figure it out. I'll help you, no matter how long it takes or what time it is.
Right.
So
really it's I'm not going to leave you hanging.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it.
Because that's the worst feeling. I've been at companies where there's no lead at all. And, there's some situations you're just stuck and you're like, there's no, like, I'm just gonna leave this for tomorrow. It's got to get done.
Right.
So
right.
you're kind of, it's rough.
It is.
Very rough.
It is. I have had guys literally from night shift, okay, sleeping during the day, get up because I've made a phone call. As Joe Alvarado. I'm not gonna lie, Joe Alvarado, from formerly of Baker. Okay, he saved my ass. I can't tell you how many times. One time I was working in SWD, the disposal well, and my tanks were beginning to overflow. They were hitting the high alarm stage because I couldn't get the filter pod to run fast enough to cycle the water out of the plant. And Joe had to come and help me. And had he not come to help me, I mean, literally, I was 45 minutes away from major disaster at that site.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like to have to call on somebody, and how good it feels when somebody fucking answers the phone.
That's it's like a sigh of relief, because like I know I've been in situations. I've tried all my little tricks. I've tried everything. I've looked at everything, and it's nothing's working. And you just start freaking out because you're running out of ideas. And you got people looking at you like, well, are you almost done? We should have started up again, 20 minutes ago.
Right.
So, but I always give them my answer, 20 more minutes.
Sure, 20 more minutes, right, give or take. And that is very, I mean, there's very few things, and I don't want to speak to other professions. Like, let's say you're a lawyer and you're fighting a case in front of a judge, okay, and your client's either going to go to jail or not. Like, that's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Or you're a doctor and you're doing a surgery, and the end, the guy's going to live or he's going to die. In the oil field, it's the same. It's literally the same.
Yeah, it feels that way for sure.
It does.
For sure. It's an experience like no other. There's just a lot of situations like that where you're like, it's life or death, but really it's not. But I mean, it feels that way.
It does.
Because, you got like a lot of money on the line,
Right. And everyone's looking at you.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone's looking
for your answer, because certain companies, you're the face of the company.
Right.
You're the only one. Either you and your partner are the only face of the company, because out in the oil field, that's the thing, is that help is not 10 minutes down the road. It's
right.
It could be hours.
Yes, that's correct.
Hours and hours.
Yep.
So like this frac I'm going to now, the yard's 7-8 hours away. So
no way.
So I mean, it's 4 of us going out there. So 2 days, 2 nights. So help is not right down the road. So
right, you better make sure you have everything in that unit, because you are not gonna make a quick half-hour drive to the store.
For sure.
Holy shit. And that also adds to that sense of isolation and loneliness, because like you can't even go to a store if you wanted to. Like, like if you're like a regular person, or you work in the oil field but you're at home on your week off, I'm gonna go to Walmart, right? Like a normal person, I'm just gonna go to Walmart. When you're stuck in a place like that, you can't even get that normal feeling of, I'm gonna go to Walmart.
For sure.
Dude, that's a killer.
Yeah, especially like when I worked out in Utah, the town we stayed in, the closest Walmart was 2 hours away. What? And the closest any kind of fast food or any food at all was an hour.
What?
So
damn.
It was
what about the place where you were at? Were there no stores?
There was one mom and pop grocery store. One.
And I'm gonna bet you that the shelves were always empty.
They were.
Oh,
and
crap.
Everything was, you know how it is in oil field towns. Everything's overpriced like crazy.
Right. They see us coming and they just think that we're there to be fleeced.
Yeah.
Now, to some degree, I get it, because oil field guys make more money on average than your normal person. But that's because of the shit that we have to put up with.
Oh, yeah.
And then you want to come and fleece me for my dollar? Like, dog.
For sure. I mean, I'm ready to like selling my time out here. You know what I mean? Basically.
Right.
So.
But I want to call you on that. I'm going to call you specifically out on that, because if you were trading time for money, shit, you could just stay at home and they send you a check.
For sure.
It's not that. It's the value that you bring.
No,
it's the value you put into that. And you, Jesse, like, you bring a metric shit ton of value to everything that you do. Every time I've seen you, you're always moving around. You've got something in your hand. You're working on something. I don't think, with the exception of maybe where we said we're going to take a break, you're always getting something done.
For sure. Well, I appreciate that.
No, it's true.
Yeah, because I pride myself on my work, and I like getting stuff done. Like you seen me the other day, like I was stressing about getting everything ready for that job in Oklahoma. So even when we're on break, I'm still, you can see my mind rolling of what I need still. So
Sure. Well, like you said, once you're out there, and if you don't have what you need, yeah, you're fucked.
yeah, and then they're like, I thought you said you had everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
And people have no problem in the oil field making you feel stupid.
oh yeah,
No, they love to make you feel stupid.
oh yeah, definitely. That's one thing that's for sure. Yeah, they won't let you forget it.
No, they're gonna ride your dude. Okay, so for example, I texted a buddy of mine that I had not seen in over half a year, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I think I'm gonna see you, or I think we're gonna work together." Okay, first thing he says, the only reply he got to me is like, "As long as you don't let the generator run out of fuel." I'm like, "Dog, what the fuck, bro? That was once, dude, once."
sure.
But no, people will not let you forget.
Yeah, they'll bring it up forever,
Ever.
forever and ever.
Forever and ever. Well, and that's why it helps. It helps to try to be the best guy that you can, because everything that you say and do is going to come back
Yeah,
to
for
you.
sure. I try to be as reliable as possible. I mean that's who I am.
Yeah.
I pride myself on my work, and that's the way I was raised. So
Well, and it shows. It absolutely shows. It absolutely does. Now, I want to shift a little bit because I'm talking about you, but there's something that you do that it blows me away. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, okay, that Jesse is one of the most amazing and fantastic photographers I have ever seen. Okay, he's taken oil field photos, he's taken artsy type photos, but I have never seen of the quality and a feeling, which is weird, right? Because it's two-dimensional. It's a photograph. But the photos that you take, seriously, they evoke feelings out of me. How did you get into photography, dude?
I think started because I was always into cars.
Okay.
So I would wash my car and just start taking pictures. You know?
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
So that's how I started. And,
Nice.
And then it kind of grew like, well, see a sunset or something. Because I always loved astronomy. So taking pictures of the night sky or something.
Beautiful.
The moon, and it kind of just went from there and just progressed. And I don't know. Like people are like, "Oh, you got a good eye for it." So, and I'm just like, well, to me, it's just like the way I see it. So
Right. But I'm going to tell you, that is the clue of a master. See why? Because you are so full of talent that you don't even notice it yourself. And your family, right? Which I don't know from Adam, but I'm just going to say, they take it for granted. It's nothing special because it's something that is just so you. But when other people see that, you really have to take that as a more true barometer of your talent.
well, I do have to say, my family, they're always like, "Oh, you do so good. You should do like photography. You should."
Okay.
They're always trying to put. They
always support you.
Yeah, they do. I have a
Wonderful.
very supportive family, so
That's beautiful. No, and
For sure.
that's awesome, dog. And I'm very, very, very happy to hear that, because sometimes not all of us have very supportive families.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No.
Honestly, there's a lot of times out here where if I didn't have the family I did have, I probably wouldn't have made it out here. I probably wouldn't have made it in life, honestly.
Really?
So, yeah, definitely.
Well, that's a beautiful thing, and what a testament to your family. And
sure.
if they're listening right now, you need to know that when Jesse comes out here, he gives it his all, and he's very serious about what he does. He's not here to fuck around. He's like we say out here, bro. He's as serious as dick cancer. Like
Yeah.
Right? I got that from my boy Jason. So I have not let it go. Like a dog with a stick, I have not let it go, because I really do think that's I think that's a great way of putting it. Is shit out here is as serious as dick cancer. I am super impressed with your photographs. I'm going to go ahead and put your socials, if that's okay with you, right, in the description, the link below, so that way I'm going to put the links in the description below, so that way everyone can check you out and follow you. Where are you at? You're on Instagram. Where
Instagram.
else? What's your handle, dog? Say it.
Stang 4V.
Okay.
That's from back in the day when I had a Mustang. So
Andale, there you
Stang
go.
4V. STANG 4V.
Okay.
On TikTok, Instagram.
Didn't you have a TikTok that hit like pretty big?
Yeah, I had one. It was like, I believe it was like 115,000 views.
It was on 117.
Well, 117. I couldn't remember. I was like 115, 117.
117.
So, Yeah.
Dude, that's huge numbers, bro.
Oh yeah.
That's huge numbers, and with oil field content.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
mainly what I post. You know, I throw some random stuff in there sometimes, but for the most part, it's all oil field.
It's all oil field stuff. And didn't we even have a laugh one day? Because you and I, we wound up taking the same photograph.
Oh yeah.
That's
in
awesome.
the same exact spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But somehow, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna bet that his photograph came out better than mine. Dude, Jesse, what a tremendous pleasure to be able to have you come on the show and just talk a little bit. Will you come back?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you, and I know that the audience, man, hearing some real shit from a real guy, man, that's everything. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jesse. He is a solid mother. Please look him up. Look in the description below and reach out. Reach out to him. Reach out to me. Let us know what you think. Say goodbye, Jess. Anybody you want to say goodbye to, or anybody you thinking
Just go
about?
back home in Sealy, Texas.
There you go. My brother, you have a great day. Ladies and gentlemen, see ya. Hey, how great was that? That really was one of my favorite episodes thus far. We really had some serious talk, straightforward talk. It didn't really matter what it was about. We really actually just got real with it. And so please look in the description below. Follow Jesse on all the socials. His stuff is amazing. I kid you not. I've never lied to you folks, and I would not start now. Jesse is an incredibly talented man. Check out his socials. Follow him. Follow the Oilfield Leader podcast, and we're going to bring you more of what you love. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the next one.
The Oilfield Leader podcast is brought to you by executive producer Daniel Corral, executive producer Jim Lynn, executive producer and voice talent, me, Mad Mac, production assistant Caleb Knott. The Oilfield Leader podcast is produced and hosted by Christian Lombardini. Copyright 2023. The Oilfield Leader and Christian Lombardini, all rights reserved. Peace.